All right, so Political came out with a decent article explaining the reason why protesters in LA are waving the Mexican flag. Now, I've made my position clear on this over the past couple of days, and my position is much different than a lot of other leftists, and many of them I look up to and would probably not like me for my stance on this, but I do not think people should be waving Mexican flags. I get the symbolism, but unfortunately, most Americans are fucking stupid and they don't know or understand that. So when they see people waving Mexican flags, excuse me, get the living shit beat out of them by cops, they're just kind of like, whatever. It's a sad truth. That's not my thoughts. That's just your average central normie, and obviously the right's opinions. And with waving these Mexican flags, I think you are unfortunately inviting these right wing talking points that do, for once, make somewhat sense to your average normie American. You have the like, oh, you fled from your country, but you still wave their flag. Why don't you go back there? Now, do I agree with that? No. But do a lot of normies and people in the center? Unfortunately, yes, it is a optic nightmare because it requires you to do just a little bit of reading and understanding of history and just understanding the symbolism that we're going to cover here and all of that behind it. And just people don't do that, and that's just the truth. My opinion is we should be waving American flags. We should show them that we are the patriots and that we are the ones that care about the rule of law and, most importantly, the Constitution. You want to know what makes for really good optics and to bring people to your side, the right side? When people see cops and the National Guard beating the shit out of, or pepper spraying, flashbanging, tear gassing, rubber bullets, whatever, against people who are waving American flags, wrapped in American flags, that is how you win over the normies and the center. The right at this point, they're off a cliff, man. Trying to appeal to the right is just it's impossible. They're just so fucking they're in a whole different reality at this point. But let me be clear, I support these protests and the message behind them, and no matter what flag they're waving, but doesn't mean I can't criticize it. And because I criticize it in this way, even though I agree with the messaging, I just want as many people from your normies and your centrists to be on your side as well. Waving the Mexican flag, I'm sorry, in my opinion, is not going to do that. Also, side note, it is hilarious to see Republicans pissing and shitting themselves over people waving the Mexican flags when many of them wave Confederate flags. Like, at least Mexico's like a close fucking ally, and unlike the fucking Confederates, the fucking people who literally rebelled against this country, traitors. Besides the point. Uh, let's read the article and learn a little bit more on why people are waving these flags. Even though I think they should be waving American flags, it is important that we know why they are waving Mexican flags. So, from Politico, why Los Angeles protesters fly the Mexican flag. Anyone looking at images of the Los Angeles immigration protests have almost certainly seen a Mexican flag flying somewhere in frame. Demonstrators have hoisted the red, white, and green banner atop cars, and while marching down streets and freeways, it spilled into the corners of CNN live shots and has been splashed across social media. To some, the flag, its bright colors standing out against dark smoke from burning cars and tear gas, is a powerful sign of resistance to President Donald Trump's mass deportation agenda. To others, it is ammunition for conservatives aiming to paint unrest as a migrant invasion. That part's just completely stupid. I just think the main thing is, I don't think normies are looking at it as a migrant invasion, but they definitely are looking at it. It's like, wait a minute, like, why are you waving the Mexican flag when you came here from Mexico? Anyways, case in point, a National Review headline calling the Mexican flag Confederate banner of the LA riots. What the hell? Protesters' prominent use of the flag evokes photos from more than 30 years ago. Also, what it said here about the powerful sign of resistance to burning cars and tear gas behind. Man, there's been some epic ass photos. Not even gonna lie. God damn. It looks epic. And especially epic because these are people who are fighting for the Constitution and for human rights. Let's see. The 1994 initiative, Proposition 187, was a turning point for Latino political power in the state. It served as an awakening for some California protesters who later became prominent leaders, including former Senate President Pro Tom Kevin D. Leon, Tem Kevin De Leon, Angelica Salas, a prominent activist in the state and executive director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, noted protesters also hoisted the flag in 2006 during massive demonstrations against George W. Bush-era legislation to crack down on illegal immigration. When you attack the undocumented community, when you attack the immigrant community, there is a sense that, it's a reality. The majority of the folks are Mexican, she said. Salas spoke with California Playbook about why the Mexican flag continues to be an important symbol for demonstrators. And I also want to interject with my critiques again. I understand most people that are facing deportation and this absolute monstrous ICE crackdown in California and LA are Mexican. But I think this is, symbolizes a much larger problem we have in the country. And like, we have people from many other states that aren't Mexican, that are Haitian, Venezuelan, Nicaraguan, Afghanis. I think this is why we should just default to the American flag to symbolize American values and the Constitution, and just fight for immigrants of all backgrounds. That being said, let's continue on what the Mexican flag means to protesters. It's really about saying we're American, Mexican, American, and we're not ashamed of being Mexican. There's a very popular refrain amongst our community that you can't just like our food and our culture, who also demand that you like the people, because it's a sort of way of a very, very strong sentiment that there's a like for what we produce and for our culture and our foods and everything else, but not of the people. So there's a sense of the deep level of discrimination against the Mexican people. So when people carry the flag, it's really a symbol of pride and a symbol of we're not going to be ashamed to claim our heritage, our Mexican heritage. We're not going to be bullied to hide an aspect of who we are. On young protesters' attachment to the flag, when you see a lot of people with their flags, it's also claiming and showing support for their parents. So many of the young people who are marching U.S. citizens, they're second, third generation, and maybe they are the first who were born in this country, very much U.S. citizens by birth, but they want their parents to also know they're standing with them. I feel like every time I ask a young person whether they're carrying a Mexican flag, a Salvadorian flag, a Guatemalan flag, or any other flag, it's just about, I want people to understand I'm proud of who I am. I'm not ashamed to be Mexican, and I'm certainly not ashamed of my parents, and I want them to know that I will not reject them, because there's a lot of pressure to reject Mexican heritage. Now, people like me understand that, but unfortunately, a vast majority of the country doesn't. And respectfully, a lot of people on the left-leaning side too, they support your cause, but they, at face value, just don't understand the Mexican flag waving. So when California's connection to Mexico, 30% of the population is people of Mexican descent, 12 million individuals who live here, who are proudly a multi-generational community. That means we have recent arrivals as well, people who are immigrants who have been here for many years, and then the majority of people actually are second, third, fourth generation Mexican American. There's a lot of pride in our deep roots in the region. So very good article that sums it up pretty well. And regardless if you share my kind of feelings on it or not, it's important to know. Like I said, I don't care what flag they're waving. I will support them, and as long as their message is what it is, I will support it to the very end, because I know they have the right message, and they are the ones who stand on human rights and for the Constitution and just for the values of this country. This is a country founded and built on immigrants. Now, a little side story. We have the right has been kind of, maybe we haven't, I've just kind of glossed over it, but they've been kind of hush on the January 6 riots, because reporters, the January 6 rioters who were pardoned, because reporters just haven't been really hammering it that hard and making comparisons to other things going on. But now we had a perfect example here, and wow, this is crazy. Her response here, you might not be able to hear it real well, but basically the reporter is going to ask in this video, it's like, hey, don't you think there's a little bit of double standards here to crack down on and call these LA protesters like insurrectionists, criminals, rioters, and etc. And Trump pardoned the 1,500 January 6ers who literally stormed the Capitol building trying to overturn a free and fair election. Isn't that a little bit of like double standards? So it's crazy. Let's watch. And also, God, Pam Bondi. Not many things scare me. Like being at a protest, getting flashbangs or tear gas or pepper spray or whatever at you. That's all fun. That's all whatever. But like this woman, there's something about her, man. She's gotten so much Botox done. Like I am convinced this is a fucking lizard person, man. This lady just, I don't know how to describe it. She scares me. Like, there is not a soul behind those eyes. There's thoughts, but there's not a soul. Anyways.
Law enforcement, they need to have their hands untied where they can do their jobs. Right now in California, what we're doing is working by bringing in the National Guard, by bringing in the Marines right now to back them up, to protect our federal buildings, to protect the highways, to protect the citizens. So right now in California, we're at a good point. We're not scared to go further. We're not frightened to do something else if we need to. Right now we're trying to...
banging up sidewalks? Is it something else? Like what's the threshold for...
Well, right now we're hoping it's going to get under control. We hope the curfew will work, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to keep California safe if the government of California is not going to help them. One more question.
One question. The administration has talked a lot about defending law enforcement over the last week or so that these protests are going on, but you've been criticized for having a double standard with the president pardoning all these people who attacked police officers on January 6th in his first day in office. How do you answer that criticism?
Well, this is very different. These are people out there hurting people in California right now. This is ongoing, no longer. We're going to protect them. We're going to do everything we can to prosecute violent criminals in California. California is burning. These people are waving Mexican flags, yet they don't want anyone to go back to Mexico. They're burning American flags. This is the United States of America, and we're going to protect Americans. We're going to protect all citizens out there. Thank you. You guys have a great day. Law enforcement.
These people are shameless. Absolutely shameless. So yeah, he was like, so you talk about defending law enforcement and whatever. It's like, what about the January 6ers that Trump pardoned that like attacked law enforcement and stormed the Capitol building? Don't you think that's a little bit of a double standard? And she's like, oh, no. This is different. This is very different. It's like, what? There are people, and she says, there are people out there hurting people in California right now. This is ongoing. What do you mean there's people out there in California hurting people? The only people out there in California, in LA, hurting people is the fucking police. Like, in federal law enforcement, ICE, and, like, what is happening here? And if you caught in the beginning, she was like, yeah, we might go further. Go further. You've already been flashbanging and tear gassing and spraying less than lethal ammunition at people that have been peacefully protesting, that weren't being violent. People walking on sidewalks, reporters reporting on the situation. Go further. What do you mean go further? Paired with the Marines going there, you going to start opening up with live ammunition? What's happening here? And then she's like, yeah, LA's burning down, or LA is on fire. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's been proven time and time again that majority of the protests were actually peaceful, and it's a very small, like one kilometer or 1 mile radius that's facing these problems, and those are all being instigated in almost every situation by the police and the feds. Like, these people are just so shameless. It blows my mind. People protesting, a bunch of ICE Gestapo pigs going to people's workplaces, schools, and etc. This is different, man. People protesting that, unacceptable. But like people storming the Capitol building, yelling "Hang Mike Pence," taking a shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk, trying to overturn the results of an election because they didn't like the results. What do you mean that's different? Those people got a pardon, and you want to go and throw the book at all these protesters? Oh my God, man. This is a crazy world we're living in. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.